Club, Fight 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 Club.
Woo! It is Fight Club time.
Yes, sir.
You have all been waiting for one of our favorite segments of the off season. This is a summer staple. And to keep it fresh, to keep things from getting stagnant, right? A little twist to the tournament itself. And this year, for one time, probably only, we're introducing the tag team edition of the Fight Club. Can I get a DJ horn? Do we have a DJ horn? Fighting horn works as well. For this year's edition of the Fight Club, these head coaches will not be fighting by themselves. This year, they will finally have somebody in their corner that they can tag out. And it won't just be anybody. It's going to be the person that they care about least throughout the entire year. That's not the kicker or the punter. It's the backup quarterback. Who else would you want to fight alongside with than a guy that you think of as dispensable? A guy that you don't want to have to rely on. A guy that you can treat as a meat shield. Well, that is the backup quarterback, baby. And so for this one, I said it's a tussle in a tunnel. Okay? That is coaches and the QBs meeting each other in the tunnel at halftime, ready to duke it out because they have beef. So,
is the tussle in the tunnel.
First thing I had, like an announcer voice there.
That was good. That was good. Now, do we have any graphics to show our combatants for this week?
We're back to things like this.
This is fantastic.
From the Cowboys, head coach Brian Schottenheimer, and the backup you chose was Sam Howell. And then in the other corner of the tunnel is the Washington Commanders with head coach Dan Quinn and backup quarterback Marcus. Something about Hawaii Mariota.
Yes, sir. And listen, with this new venture, we've had to really struggle to find tail of the tape measurements for these coaches, right? Their age, easy to find. Their height, usually a guesstimate. But with these QBs,
I don't believe any of it. I still don't believe any of their numbers either.
They're more believable than whatever we could find on these coaches, okay? Because I don't think you or I have actually written down the heights of and weights of these coaches, just to guesstimate each and every offseason.
I think I have tried a couple of times to get as many of them as I can, but yeah, I didn't even bother this year because I'm running on vibes, baby.
And you know what? Sometimes that's the most beautiful part. But yeah, we can do tell of the tapes for these backup quarterbacks. Sam Howell stands at a sturdy 6'1", and then Marcus Mariota standing tall and I believe 6'3", 6'4". All right. And you look at him, Sam Howell, stocky. Marcus Mariota, tall, lanky. He was the promised prince, if you will, coming out of Oregon. And then Sam Howell, with rumors that he could be a first-round pick based on a strong junior season at North Carolina, ends up having a weak season senior year, falls to, I believe, the 5th round of the NFL draft the year that he came out. And both of these QBs have jumped around all over the place. So these are guys hungry for a shot at stardom, or just the starting lineup. With Sam Howell, sure, he still has his whole career ahead of him. Marcus Mariota is quickly approaching the twilight of his career and is now kind of just settled into the backup space.
I would say about both of them is that they're both like decent enough backup quarterbacks. So like they're competent people. It's not like we didn't bring in like at least in this fight, someone who you might consider like a complete bozo or something. These are pretty level-headed, competent guys, if I remember correctly. Although I might be or forgetting some type of Sam Howell hard knock stuff, but I don't think so.
Now, Sam Howell is going to be one of the funniest competitors in this, assuming that they make it through, because there will be no losers bracket in this tournament. It's one and done, baby.
Yeah.
You win and you're in. You lose, get the fuck out. All right. Now, the reason why I feel strongly about Sam Howell's placement in this, and the reason I chose him, right, one is because I thought he'd be the funniest option between him and Joe Milton, because I'm like, man, Joe Milton's a big motherfucking dude. Okay, that
honestly, if we were trying to balance the teams a little more, we might have needed to give Schottenheimer that, but we'll see.
All right, but here's the thing. Patrick brought this up to me in our group chat. He is he is the backup quarterback in the all-time PTR lineup, and by that I mean he's played for the Cowboys.
Sam Howell, that is.
Yeah, Sam Howell has been on the Cowboys, rather. He's been on the Vikings, and he's been on the Eagles.
He was on the Vikings roster from like April to August.
Hey, man, that's 4 months. That counts.
I guess he might have done an OTA or something.
He was in training camp, so hey, you know what? There you go. Training camp starts in July. So there you go. He was technically a member of all 3 teams that represent past the Rock. All right, and then Marcus Mariota, he played for the Eagles for 1 season, so that was neat. But yeah, with that said, we're gonna go ahead and get things rolling now. You may be wondering, C's, is there a prime time rewind this year? No, there is not, because these old dudes have young stallions as their tag team partners. So they're just gonna have to figure it out and duke it out. Now, with that said, ring the Viking horn to announce the start of combat. I will lead things. All right, so it is the regular season. All right, late in the season, Brian Schottenheimer and the Dallas Cowboys have secured the 2nd spot in the division. All right, they're not going to overtake the Philadelphia Eagles, so they're just sending in the backups to play. All right, now Joe Milton is the number 2 in this case, with Sam Howell as the 3rd string quarterback. Now, Joe Milton, huge guy, rocket arm, having a bad game, but it's whatever. He's a young guy. You want him to develop. You know what Sam Howell is. Brian Schottenheimer knows what Sam Howell is. The other team across the sidelines also know what Sam Howell is, as that's his former team. And Dan Quinn did not want him there whenever he got hired on. All right, they went with Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is sitting the bench. Marcus Mariota, he's playing as well. Now, the Washington Commanders are in 3rd place. Again, they're playing for nothing here. They're just trying to finish the season out without any serious injuries. Or so you would think. The sidelines are getting heated as this game is unnaturally physical for a late year game that means nothing to either side. And so what ends up happening is Marcus Mariota, he's in shotgun. Time's running down, leading into the second half. All right. Or going into halftime, rather. Takes a snap out of the shotgun, goes back to pass, looks, no one's open. He runs, tries to go for the first down, and as he crosses out of bounds, he gets hard shoved into his coach, Dan Quinn, by somebody on the defensive side of the Dallas Cowboys. Marcus Mariota takes with him Dan Quinn. Both of them are fine. They both get up, but everybody's heated. Like, that was a late shove. That was unnecessary. Penalty flags flying everywhere. Words are being exchanged. And Brian Schottenheimer on the other side just looks, rubbing his hands all devilishly, saying, yeah, we like to see that. All right? Because Jerry's in his ear. Jerry's like, hey, Dan Quinn wasn't that great of defensive coordinator. He wasn't that great of coach. People thought we were going to hire him. But no, I mean, he was just
that is bad.
And so Brian Schottenheimer getting the boss call from Jerry, just deciding, you know what? I'm going to go talk some shit to Dan. So Westbrook, blow the whistle. Halftime has commenced. And Sam Howell is attached to the hip, Brian Schottenheimer. He's been begging for 2 quarters to play. He just wants to put some tape out there because, his free agency's coming up and he wants to show just maybe, this guy is worth a chance to take on in the number 2 role, maybe even a number 1 role on a bad team, right? So Sam Howell's trying to talk to Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer is ignoring the shit out of this guy. And then he bumps into Dan Quinn in the tunnel. Dan Quinn shoves Brian hard up against the wall, puts his forearm right in his neck, and says, "What the fuck was that? Oh, you think you're funny? You think that was funny?" And Brian Schottenheimer's like, just really choking hard. And Marcus Mariota, he's right behind Dan Quinn. It's like, "Hey man, chill, Dan, chill. This isn't like you, dog. This isn't mahalo." I don't know if I was using that Hawaiian word correctly.
Probably racist, but it's okay.
Mahalo means hello, I think. There was a word.
I thought it meant family. No, it's Ohana.
No, that's Ohana. Hawaiian word for chill. We're looking this up right now. Hawaiian words for chill. I can't say any of these, so I thought it was mahalo because that's what I thought it was. But either way, I apologize to any Hawaiians. I meant nothing by it. But listen, he's just like, "This isn't chill. This isn't like you, bud. This is not like." Yeah. This Omaha.
It's HO' Omaha. That's relax.
Okay. Well, there you go. So anyway, you have that, right? That situation. And then Sam's like, "Yeah, stay out of this, Marcus." And he's like, "What? I'm trying to help." And he was like, "Help what? You're in my way." It's like, what do you mean I'm in your way? You don't even play here." He's like, "No, but I could. I could be the number 2. I see how you're playing out there, playing like shit." And mind you, Brian Schottenheimer still choking on the forearm of Dan Quinn. Right? And he's like, "Hey, you know what, man? If you were so good, you would have been in this spot. They never would have got rid of you." And Sam Howell, all 6'1" of him, just tries to wind up a punch, but he has these short, stubby arms. And Marcus just ducks. And Marcus, he's light on his feet. And he's like, "Okay, I see how it is." And he has this laser, quick release. And so you just apply that to a punch. But remind you, quarterbacks really can't fight. So what he does is he cocks back his arm like he's going to throw a football, but with a closed fist, and gets Sam right on the nose. And Sam's like, what the fuck was that? That wasn't a punch. And there's Marcus Mariota just doing this okay. I should have done that with my throwing hand. And then Brian Schottenheimer, jackass. And then Dan Quinn's like, "Yeah, jackass." And Dan Quinn, distracted, calling his QB a jackass, gives Brian the opportunity for a low blow. Gets down, gets him right in the nutsack, right? And then starts speed bagging that shit, just like Jerry taught him. All right, Dan Quinn is now on the ground, and all hell breaks loose from there. Sam Howell decides to try to spear tackle Marcus Mariota, misses. Marcus Mariota gets him into a guillotine chokehold, all right? And so you're in a stalemate where one coach for the Dallas Cowboys, Schottenheimer, has the leg up on Dan Quinn, but then Marcus Mariota has the leg up on Sam Howell. But then the spirit of Randall Cunningham speaks into Sam Howell. He's like, "You've played for PTR. You represent PTR. Are you going to go out like a bitch?" Mind you, Randall Cunningham is not dead, but he's kind of hallucinating from the lack of blood going to his brain. All right? And so this rage just quells up. And like Hulk Hogan from the 80s, he's like, "I'm hulking up, brother." And then he tries to fight out of this guillotine, grabs his helmet, and just throws it over the side of him, manages to get Marcus right on the forehead. Boom. Breaks the hold. He's gasping for air. And then Sam Howell turns to Dan Quinn, goes to punch Dan Quinn, but because he's a very inaccurate passer of the football sometimes, overdoes it, lands the punch on to Brian. Brian goes up against the wall in a daze. Dan Quinn is very much still incapacitated because he got his nutsack rocked again because he got speed bagged. And without missing a beat, he turns all the way. He uses the momentum from this punch that accidentally got his coach knocked out, right? And goes a full 180, a full 360, and proceeds to try to attack Marcus again. Though in this time, Marcus has managed to get his own helmet, smacked Sam Howell right across the side of the head, knocked him off balance, and then Brian Schottenheimer regains his his footing, his ground. Looks at Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn is still writhing in pain. He looks over at Marcus Mariota, and then the spirit of Jerry Jones is like, "Do it, do it." He tries to go for Force Lightning, but this is not one of the magical seasons of Pass the Rock. So now he just looks stupid doing this. And then Marcus just throws his helmet right at Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer gets knocked out. Sam Howell gets back up, and he's like, "It's me. It's go time." So he goes to charge right at Marcus, throws himself right at Marcus Mariota. Marcus ducks away, and as Dan Quinn is getting back up and getting his nutsack rocked, here comes all 210 pounds of Sam Howell right into the stern of Dan Quinn, knocking him out. Both coaches are out for the count. It's just the two QBs left, and Marcus, being Marcus, he again tries to go for a punch, but again, bad habits. He goes for this terrible punch that comes out like a football throw. Sam dodges this one, and with his big head, big face, headbutts Marcus, knocking him out. The refs come in, separate this. Roger Goodell goes, "What the hell? Why am I here? Why am I at the stadium? This game doesn't matter." Walks away, and Sam Howell goes to the tunnel, the last man walking, last man standing. He wins this one for PTR and for Jacob Bethke.
All right, very nice. Sorry, USA almost got a second one. Yeah, so they scored. They were offsides. They called it back. They got fucked on what should have been a penalty. They didn't get it, and then they ended up scoring on a bad turnover. And they almost scored again. But now the half's about to end, which means I'll go ahead and I'll break my year 5 whatever seal. So the way I almost always envision this is in the off season, the commissioner sends notes to every single franchise. It's like, your coach has been invited to the head coach fight club, kind of Mortal Kombat-y, or like Street Fighter maybe. I don't remember which of these tournament style fighting games have like invitations, but it's something like that. So the Cowboys and the Redskins know they're matched up against each other. It's their coach. They know they get to involve their QB room somehow. And they have to, determine time and place themselves. Maybe not place. They know it's going to be in a tunnel. They know there's some kind of fight that they're going to have in a tunnel. Winner takes all. And cut to the Cowboys. Cut to the Star. And you've got Schottenheimer, who comes out of whatever like robot tank he's kept in whenever he's not actually out there, just shouting therapy speak at reporters and players. And he comes out of there, and he walks into the big man's office, and he gets down on one knee, and he says, "What is thy bidding, my master?" And Jerry's like, well, Brian, I need you to take that old Sam Howell there and go out and fight old Danny Quinn. I need you to kill him. I need you to kill him real good. And so that's what's going on there in Washington. Hard cut. Dan Quinn's just sitting on a throne, like kind of like the Iron Throne, but not quite that majestic. Like he hasn't earned anything quite that, but it's like that vibe. Like he's definitely the lord of the house here, and Marcus Mariota comes walking down the aisle to him, and he says, "Coach, you called?" He says, "Yes, Marcus. I need you to do something for me. Just take care of this little errand I have. I'm supposed to kill Brian Schottenheimer, I guess. But I've just got better things to do, and that would just be a poor use of my time." And Marcus says, "Okay, I'll handle this for the team." So after a game of Cowboys and Commanders, Dan Quinn takes off his headset, goes to the locker room, and Marcus Mariota stands in the tunnel after the whole team passes him. All the Cowboys have gone back. All the Commanders have gone back. Just Mariota standing alone in a tunnel. When from behind him, he can hear cleats running down the tunnel. And he turns around, and there's Sam Howell trying to be sneaky, but he's running with cleats in a tunnel towards Marcus Mariota. And Mariota just kind of casually steps to the left, sticks a foot out, trips him, and Sam Howell face first into the ground, knocked out cold. And you kind of hear a sigh from the corner. And then swinging around the corner for no reason, absolutely no reason, cowboy boots, spurs, assless chaps, and the rowdy mask. And it's Brian Schottenheimer. And so Schottenheimer is going to try to fight Marcus Mariota again for no reason in boots, spurs, assless chaps, and the rowdy mask. And as you can imagine, it doesn't take Mariota very long to get Schottenheimer down, because really all you have to do is hit that gigantic head a few times. And he's got Schottenheimer on the ground. He pulls the stupid ass rowdy mask off, and as he puts one hand to the back of Schottenheimer's head and one hand to his face, he says, "Dan Quinn sends his regards." Snaps his neck. That's the end. There was never a fight. Brian Schottenheimer's a joke. Sam Howell, an even bigger joke. We probably should have given him Joe Milton, but now it'll be up to Bethke to decide who wins this fight. And unfortunately, I bet we know which way that's going to go. But I really wish I had the animation skills to do like in my head I was imagining like Dan Quinn as like, in episode 1 of Star Wars where they're talking to the Emperor over like the hologram thing, and he's just a hooded figure, you don't know who he is, and then you see Darth Maul step into the shot of the hologram, which doesn't make any sense technology wise, but is a cool shot, and that's just Marcus Mariota like stepping in from behind. But I had to pivot to Jerry being the Emperor and being an incompetent one.
Well, that's the lovely part about all this. You can make it whatever you want it to be. It is the Fight Club. It is the Head Coach Fight Club Tag Team Edition.
Tag team again.
So, that is that one.
Why would I pick against the Dallas Cowboys? They're a team of destiny, and the destiny is for them to bring themselves to me here in Los Angeles and win a championship for the first time in what feels like eternity.
The first fight, I believe I said, it was going to be an NFC fight. So you have the Philadelphia Eagles, right, represented by Nick Sirianni, everyone's favorite Italian. And then you also have, as his tag team partner, I think I wrote down, Andy Dalton is his tag team partner in this fight, as he is technically a backup for the Eagles as of right now. All right, and then we have the New York Giants with Harbaugh and famous Jameis. That's time for me. Get this thing going. Unless Patrick, you wanna bat second?
Yeah, I might as well. So look, I don't know that anyone in either of these in this fight is gonna be in it for the long haul. They could be, but I'm not expecting either of these groupings to make it the furthest. I think this one will be more of a clean fight than the last one I did, more of a straight up. I don't think John Harbaugh's pulling any like Dan Quinn style sneaky moves. John Harbaugh is just a go get him guy, and he's gonna go get him. Now the problem that he's gonna have is, are we getting interception Jameis or touchdown Jameis in this fight? But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I don't really think it matters because Andy Dalton's old ass is going to be entirely useless here. Nick Sirianni, he's just kind of a dude, so I think Harbaugh overtakes him pretty easily, and I think Jameis Winston has no problem keeping Andy Dalton away from causing any problems for Harbaugh, and I think it's pretty straightforward Giants victory, just because Andy Dalton and Nick Sirianni are both so goofy.
All right, so that's that. There you go, audience. You hear that? Now it's time for you to hear what I got to say about this one. And as always, I like to go deep and elaborate on the scenario. So I want
like to go deep.
Yeah, oh yeah, love to go deep. Anyway, now audience, I hope you're seated for this one. All right. Picture, if you will. Actually, you don't really have to picture this because it's more likely to happen than not. It's 35-0 at halftime. Eagles are up. And they decide, you know what? Jalen Hurts, we're good. We're just going to park the bus. We're going to go get Andy Dalton. So Andy Dalton is getting ready on the sidelines. He's going to do a kneel down to send the game into halftime. John Harbaugh is livid. He is livid with his team. Cannot believe that they are losing 35-0. He forgot that he's on the Giants and not the Ravens. You know, old age starting to mess with his mind just a little bit. And, you know, the problem is he's also really crazy. Have you ever seen the Harbaugh brothers? They have this crazy look in their eye. Now, it's more with Jim than with John, but John has it from time to time. Except his crazy manifests itself in shooting his team in the foot, if you will. So, John Harbaugh is deciding, or rather, he's plotting on how he can get his team back in this. And then he just snaps. Something in his mind snaps. And he's like, I gotta do something crazy. I have to do something extreme. This team can't win without their coach. And so, he looks over at Jameis Winston, and there's Jameis on the sidelines, hyping his boys up, pounding their chest, pounding his chest, throwing up a W, and he's like, we can still eat this W. And then that's when Harbaugh goes up to him and he's like, I have a way for us to get this W. Are you with me, Jameis? And Jameis is like, I'll follow you into war, coach. Anywhere you want to go, I will go there with you, coach. And he's like, all right, we're going to go beat the shit out of Nick Sirianni. And Jameis hits the record player. What? He's like, you heard me. We have no choice. He's like, this is an important game. We're 5 games back in the division, and this can help us get going. That's when Jameis says, but coach, there's only 4 games left in the season. It's like, don't worry about that, Jameis. We can still do this. It's like, Jameis is like, I don't think that's how math works, coach. And then he just pounds him in the chest and like, are you with me? Are you not with me? Let's get this W, Jameis. And Harbaugh's old ass goes into the tunnel and looks for Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni is talking shit to the fans, going down into the tunnel, saying, oh, how you like me now, huh? You like that shit? You like that? And he's starting to sound a lot like an old QB that was in the division, if you know who I'm talking about. And then he looks at Andy. He's like, Andy, I hope you're ready to get the ball. Hand it off 30 times to finish this game. And the Red Rifle just playing cool, calm, collecting. He's like, you got it, coach. You know me. I'm just cool hand Luke out here. And he's ready, and he's strutting, getting ready, focused for the next half. And then that's when Jameis just shoves him up against the wall, and Andy Dalton's head hits the wall hard. knocking him out cold, sucker punched him. And then there's Sheamus standing over an unconscious Andy Dalton doing one of these. Mwah, mwah, mwah. That's a W. And then he's doing the John Cena can't see me with the W, because he can't see a W because he's on the Giants and they can't really string up a lot of wins. And then John Harbaugh, he's jogging over to Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni's like, what the fuck? And then he makes eye contact with John Harbaugh, and the Italian in him just erupts. He's like, hey, what's the big deal? And just as Nick Sirianni is going to punch the shit out of John Harbaugh, Jameis Winston trips him, and just as he's about to fall down face first onto the concrete floor, Big Dom there to save him, pick him up, and carry him princess style. He's like, nope, can't have you getting in trouble. And then just whisks him away like a little princess into the locker room. And then there's Andy Dalton. And John Harbaugh's like, Jameis, why'd you let him get away? He's like, that's Big Dom. I'm not gonna get, you see how big he is? I don't want that. I don't want those problems. And there's Andy Dalton still kind of lifeless on the ground. He's kind of bleeding from the ear. And so then what John proceeds to do is just start kicking the shit out of an unconscious Andy Dalton, throws his hands up in the air and says, well, fuck. And with that, because Nick Sirianni was whisked away in the big, strong arms of Big Dom, the security guy for the Philadelphia Eagles, the Giants somehow caught a dub in the head coach fight club as they advanced to the next round. Nick Sirianni, yet again, just another punching bag in the fight club.
Yeah, man, it's not a head coaching contest by any means.
No, not necessarily. At least not in the first rounds. Who knows? Maybe strategy will take a more important turn, or more important place rather, in the tournament as we go along.
I think that's the case when you have two more evenly matched fighting opponents, but unfortunately I think with Sirianni just not being a fighter, there's only so much strategy you can do before you just get beat the shit out of.
It's true. And you know, in this case, he did avoid getting his ass kicked, like he himself.
Yeah, hiding behind Dom is an option.
It is an option, and it's something that, you know, maybe the audience didn't expect. Maybe. All right. But that's not the only fight that we have for the day, because we're going to do
the Saints, Kellen Moore and Zach Wilson against the Panthers, Dave Canales and Kenny Pickett. Yeah, this gets a little more difficult because I don't know these guys as well, right? Like, this isn't the same as, like, I know the NFC East guys pretty well. I know the NFC North guys pretty well. I would even venture to say I know the West pretty well. The South, I don't know much about what the hell is going on in the SEC version of the NFL, location-wise, not necessarily, like, success-wise. But that said, I think we know how this one. Man, this is a tough one.
Dude, I feel like this is the most evenly.
Yeah,
this is the most even fight of the three that we've had so far.
Looking back at my names here, and I'm like, gosh, I don't know. This is like the least personality possible fight. This is like in Futurama when they have an election, and it's like Jack Johnson and John Jackson, and it's just two generic white guys running against each other.
Understandable, yeah.
This is tough, but so I think this is gonna be like, you know, in you would see this a lot in older cartoons, and I'm sure they've done it in more modern stuff, where, like, I'm especially thinking of Bugs Bunny, where someone, like, looks in what they think is a mirror, and it's just like Bugs Bunny in front of them, just mirroring everything that they do. That's how I imagine most of this fight goes. Is it's like, oh, a right punch meets another right punch in the middle, just fist to fist. The kicks hit each other. A lot of nothing happening. Until eventually Kellen Moore remembers he was once tutelage under Jerry Jones and he's like, I think I can figure out something sneaky here. That's if there's anything I learned, it's how to get away with some shit. And so Kellen goes a little bit dirty. He has Zach equipped with a blade in his little the thing the QBs stick their hand in to like warm their hands, I guess. He pulls out just a 3-inch blade. Pretty quick work of Kenny Pickett. Never saw it coming. Especially because Zach Wilson's like a Mormon kid, right? Or at least he played at BYU.
He 100% is.
So they weren't expecting that. So Pickett's just down on the ground bleeding. And then Dave Canales is like, you know what? I got to go write another book about cheating on my wife. So I forfeit. And then that's pretty much how they win, is one stab and one guy giving up so he can go write another grifter book.
Well, it's very interesting that's where your mind took you, because my mind took me to a similar place. But why don't we go into a little bit more detail, shall we? So it's Panthers, it's Saints. Again, we're going into the tunnel at halftime. Saints are up 3-2 in one of the worst games you've ever seen in your life. Very typical NFC South material here. Kellen Moore talking to his QBs, saying, hey, listen, guys, we're going to need a change at halftime. And he's looking and he's like, man, I don't really like my options here. Okay. Spencer, you're going to go ahead and go. And then Zach Wilson says, hey, coach, what about me? What about, I've worked so hard for this opportunity. And again, they're talking into the tunnel here. And in which case, Kellen is just like, yeah, man, I really miss having Dak or Jalen Hurts on my team. Even Justin Herbert would do, and that guy can't win for shit. Whatever. And as he's spacing away, Dave Canales goes up to Kellen Moore and is like, hey, coach, I don't like how dirty your players are out there. And Kellen Moore just looks at Dave Canales like, well, I don't like how dirty you are in your personal life, buddy. So how about you mind your fucking business? Dave Canales just snaps, goes like, ah! So open hand slaps Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore looks back and open hand slaps him back. And it's just one big slap fight. But these aren't slaps that make a lot of noise. If anything, it just sounds like like that. It just looks like that to the average person. But in their minds, inside the minds, they think it's this epic fight where each man is taking the punch and then giving it right back. But really, it's just a with some very lazy wrist action. Now, Dave Canales is in much better shape, personally, than Kellen Moore. So he has a little bit more stamina to slap a little bit more. No pun intended there. Now, Zach Wilson, thinking this is the chance to really impress his coach, decides he's going to throw up a Hail Mary. He doesn't believe in Mary, though. It's a Mormon thing, I think. And anyway, he goes for a punch, only to be intercepted. Oh, wow. He is very used to that. And then, who is this? Who is this to save the day? It's Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, who intercepts the punch on complete accident because he tripped and fell right into the punch. Kenny Pickett's like, oh, whoa, dude, what the fuck? And he just sees Zach Wilson, who's doing one of these, like, oh, son of a bitch. Well, he didn't say son of a bitch. He doesn't swear. It's like, son of a caffeine. Oh, I can't have that. Dang. Whew. And then Kenny Pickett's like, oh, fucking Mormon dudes, I swear. And then he goes to punch him right back, and they start tussling back and forth. And Dave Canales and Kellen Moore, we switch back to them. Slapping, still going. That's when Dave Canales reaches into his back pocket, where he has a copy of his not-so-best-selling book about cheating on his wife, and smacks the shit out of Kellen Moore with it. Kellen Moore does one of these, and he's like, all right, I got something for you, too. Grabs his big, thick-ass playbook, hits it, Dave Canales right in the throat with it. Oh, my God, he is choking for air. He is struggling to breathe here. And Kellen Moore, trying to catch his breath, peeks over, and what does he see? you see Zach Wilson getting beat up by Kenny Pickett, who surprisingly, despite not being able to play quarterback, can actually throw a punch or two, having grown up in the Pittsburgh area himself. All right, and so he is just giving that guy a couple of knuckle sandwiches. Kellen Moore sneaks up, and much like the dirty organization that he came from, the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones takes a cheap shot, gets him in the back of the head, knocking him unconscious, and there he is, right on top, right? Like just boom. Pelvis almost meets the face of Zach Wilson, who's also unconscious. He does not like to be caught in this situation, but you know, it is what it is. And just when you think Kellen Moore stands victorious, who is this coming from the shadows, Patrick? With a little blade, stabbed in the back of the kidneys. He starts to bleed out. This hooded figure, who's been watching this whole time, helps Dave Canellis up, raises his hands in victory. She takes the hood off, and it's his mistress. The one that the book is about. That's right. The woman that he was cheating on his wife with has come back to help him in this time of need. The winners of this round go to Dave Canellis and Kenny Pickett. Looks like we're going to need a tiebreaker from good old Jacob Betke.
Just do a really unnatural fade on that. Yeah, man. Cool. I like leaving the cliffhanger. Not a bad idea. I did learn the main difference for the Mormons in terms of what they believe with Jesus and Mary is they don't believe Mary gave a virgin birth. But they still believe that Jesus is God and all that. Anyways, that's something I've learned today.
They believe a lot more than just that. Let me tell you that.
Well, yeah, I was trying to keep it specific to that because didn't seem like soaking was the right thing to talk about here. I was thinking about how to put that into the fight and just decided to not do that.
Well, depending on Bethy's decision, you
might get more opportunities. Yeah.
All right, Patrick. Do you remember who's on the docket? Because I have it right here. It is the Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Bucks. You have. Oh, there it is. Now, look at those sweet graphics. Oh, yeah, sir. You got Todd Bowles, and you got, I already forgot his name, Jake Browning.
I was going total blank.
Kevin Stefanski and Tua Tagovailoa in this week's NFC South matchup. All right. And then let's go ahead and bring up the other matchup. We have in the NFC West, the Rams with rookie quarterback Ty Simpson, accompanied by his head coach Sean McVay. And then for the Niners, you got Kyle Shanahan, and you got the return of the Mac Jones. All right. We're going to start things off with the NFC South, though. And as it's going to be with these initial first rounds, it's going to be tussle in the tunnel. All of these fights take place in the tunnels of the stadiums, either before the game, halftime, after the game. You call it. It's your shot. You're one of the hosts here. But for me, I love a good halftime brawl. Now, Patrick, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You go ahead. You go ahead.
All right. Let's get into it. So, Todd Bowles on the sidelines with Jake Browning. They're talking some halftime strategy, or they're talking about some strategy. Baker Mayfield's not having.
That is Ty Simpson, right? Oh no, you're right. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah. We're on the side.
Right. That is Jake Browning. They all look the same to me.
Hey man, what can you do? Listen. Jake Browning on the sidelines. He's getting warmed up. Baker Mayfield leaves the field hurt, as he tends to get hurt. He's not the biggest quarterback out there. Todd Bowles is like, you know what? We're just gonna hand the ball off, and then in halftime, we're gonna come up with something to get you ready and going for the next half. Jake Brown, he's like, Coach, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm not gonna let you down, Coach. I'm not gonna let you down. Todd Bowles says history says otherwise. And then on the opposite end, Kevin Stefanski just saw Michael Penix blow out his ACL for the 10th time in 10 years. It's like, God damn it, I gotta put out Tua. There's Tua just banging his head against the bench. And he's like, this, Coach, I'm ready. I'm ready. The CTE is slowly but surely taking over. And kind of like you just see some skin kind of decaying on Tua Tagovailoa. You're like, what's going on there? Is he dying? What's happening? Don't worry about it, man. We'll get to it. All right. So Tua Tagovailoa is warming up his left arm, even though he's right-handed and should have been throwing right his entire life. He's warming up his left arm. And then, you just have Kevin Stefanski just like, what do I get myself into by coming over here? Holy shit. All right. Bijan Robinson. We're just gonna throw swing passes to Bijan Robinson and hand the ball off. And that's what we're gonna do. And then the final whistle blows. The teams start going to the tunnels on halftime. And Kevin Stefanski goes up to Todd Bowles. And he's going to talk to the coach. He's like, hey, listen, man. This is anybody's division. Quite literally anybody's division. I know we're both tied for last place and we're tied for first place. How about, we just we screw over the other two guys. Kevin Stefanski says, wait, did I say Kevin Stefanski? That's Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is absolutely livid at the idea that Kevin Stefanski would suggest such a thing. And he's like, Cleveland made you into a little bitch. And Kevin Stefanski, that's a low blow. You know what Cleveland did to me. You know what they did to me. And then Tua comes up and is like, yo, Coach, what's going on, Coach? Huh? They talking shit to you, Coach? Slowly but surely, you see something start to unravel in Tua. He's like, don't worry about it. Let's just go. And as they're running onto the tunnel, Tua Tagovailoa, with those crazy eyes, just talking mad shit, barking, legitimately just barking. It's like, what you looking at, Todd? Huh? And then Jake Brown is like, hey, don't you talk to my coach like that, and starts following Tua into the tunnel. Big mistake. Todd Bowles, he sees that crazy look. He's like, oh, God, I got to go save my guy. And he starts running down, just light pace jog. It's a really long jog to the other side because for whatever reason, in this scenario, the tunnels are not shared. Now, Todd Bowles sees what's happening, and then Tua snaps. And like a rabid dog, lunges at Jake Brown and just starts biting his arm. Just and Kevin Stefanski's like, no, down, boy. Down. Stop that. You are not a dog. And then he starts getting reminded of the Cleveland Browns times where, the dog pound. He's like, man, I only had one dog on that team. I was a kid. And then here comes Todd Bowles, shoulder checking him right into the pavement and just starts wailing on Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski is fighting for his life. Just guarding up like, no, please, stop. Miles, help me, Miles. Oh, he's not here anymore. And then finally, Todd Bowles gets him with an elbow right across the temple, knocks him out. And then we go back to Jake Browning and Tua Tagovailoa. Tua, just like a rabid dog, is biting on the ankles now of Jake Browning. He's like, no, I want to play the game. Get off me. And he tries to stomp on Tua. But here's the thing. Tua is now immune to pain because the CTE has just enveloped him. Almost like a Green Goblin mask. And, Tua might actually have died that one time he had that one really nasty hit. You know which one I'm talking about. And now you see some flesh starting to come off of him. Is Tua turning into like an undead zombie? Is there some necromancy happening somewhere in the stands that's controlling Tua? Well, we don't know because Tua bites off the ankle of Jake Browning, and now he's missing a whole ass ankle. And Todd Bowles like, what the fuck? And then that's when Tua sets his sights on Todd Bowles. Lunges at Bowles and just bites Bowles right in the neck like a fucking vampire. Just blood just spurting everywhere. Todd Bowles out for the count now, and it's up to Jake Browning to try to save this. And then Jake Browning tries to throw a football right at Tua's head. Unfortunately, all the trauma to his head has now made him immune to such hits, and Tua, like a rabid dog, bites down on the neck of Jake Browning, killing him. And yeah, Tua Tagovailoa helps Kevin Stefanski advance in my scenario. Up to you, Patrick.
Hell yeah, brother. Similar type deal. This is gonna be at halftime here. Actually, I think it's pregame. It's probably pregame. Everyone's out there warming up. Again, I still like it to be like a Mortal Kombat style. Like, these guys know there's a fight happening today. Like, they know, the coaches know they're fighting each other at some point. So it's not like it's just, it doesn't have to, like, whatever. They know to expect it. So Stefanski's working with his offense. Tua's out there doing what Tua does, just looking weird, throwing left-handed and stuff. Todd Bowles sitting there on the sideline, looking at Jake Browning, looking at Kevin Stefanski, and he's thinking, man, that dude's only like 42, 44, or something like that. And he's got this crazy-ass motherfucking left-handed guy over there. And so Todd Bowles pulls a full Murdoch and just says, it's not a full Murdoch, that's a lie. But he quotes him and says, man, I'm getting too old for this shit. And then he pulls out a handgun, shoots Browning and then himself, because he just doesn't want to do it anymore. So Stefanski wins.
What a runaway. What a runaway. If this was just the normal head coach Fight Club, I think Kevin Stefanski gets his ass kicked. But you throw in the factor of a tag team partner who can do the heavy lifting for you, and suddenly it's a game changer.
Well, we won't need Becky on that one, but we'll still listen to his side of the story. But that does mean we are
True. No.
Before we get to the other fight, we're halfway through the NFC East and halfway through the NFC South. Surviving members are Brian Shotton.
We should have finished so it's 2 winners from each division go on to the next round.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just recapping.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry.
Okay,
sorry. I see what you're doing.
I'm recapping what we've done so far. So into the next round, Brian Schottenheimer, John Harbaugh out of the NFC East. Dave Canales, Kevin Stefanski out of the NFC South. Which means now it's time to start with the NFC West.
And Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan meet again, this time with Mac Jones and Ty Simpson, respectively, in their corners. All right. I think I led things off that first time, so Patrick, let's go ahead and have you lead off this time.
Yeah, this one's interesting. I don't know anything about Mac Jones and Ty Simpson. I'm just assuming they're going to cancel each other out as just voids of nothingness that we'll all forget about by next season. Which means this comes down to McVay and Shanahan. Now, as we can see here, McVay is a little bit more of a tactician. He's got his walkie-talkie, whereas Shanahan's more of an emotional and by the hip kind of guy. As you can see him solemnly listening to the national anthem, likely. So I think McVay is just going to be way more prepared for this than Shanahan will, because Shanahan's just like, thinks he's gonna kick his ass, and that's all he thinks. That's the end of what he thought about it, and then he moved on with his life. But as he's watching Simpson and Jones, where they basically like both have their hands on each other's shoulders and like nothing's happening, there's just a stalemate right in the middle. They don't matter. Shanahan's like, oh shit, that's right, I gotta kick this other guy's ass. So he goes up to McVay and just starts pummeling him. And he turns him over and he sees, oh, that wasn't Sean McVay. That was Puka Nakua in disguise. They're both short, right? So then Shanahan doesn't know what to do. And all of a sudden, the stadium lights go out. It's dark. They start flashing the lights. Music starts playing. The crowd's going crazy in Los Angeles. Fog machine. Out of the tunnel, Sean McVay, fully naked. Sprints. Dead sprint. Kyle Shanahan. Jumps. Basically, like, you know the jump that Ken Jeong did in The Hangover when he comes out of the trunk? He just jumps and lands right on Kyle Shanahan. And then with his bare hands just strangles him to death right then and there while the whole world watches.
Jeez. All right. Well, that was certainly a way to finish that fight. Okay. Here we go. Military. So this one right here, it's going to be week 15. It is a chance for the division lead. All
Did
right.
you actually play week 15?
I have no idea.
Oh, damn.
I'm just throwing out a late season. Could you imagine if I nailed that?
I thought you might have known.
No. Listen, we fly by the seat of our pants here in the football section. All right. We do not plan that far in advance. No. You know what? Now I'm curious. Do they play week 15? Let's see, 17, 18, 17, 16. No, they play the Chargers. The Niners do. But they do play week 14. Week 14, I believe. So I was close enough. But anyway,
December 13th in the future.
they play a December game, and they're playing at the cold field that is SoFi Stadium with its nicely air-conditioned dome. Okay, the hostile environment of legendary SoFi Field. The Rams are up by a smidge. It's 20-18 going into halftime, but unfortunately, somehow, some way, both starting QBs have been knocked out of the game. Matthew Stafford, he's old. You kind of expect this to happen, right? And then a Purdy over there, all right, he ain't been pretty good lately. He ain't looking too Purdy out on that blue tent. He too has been knocked out by Myles Garrett, of all people. And so you have the backups. The rookie, Ty Simpson. Then you have Mac Jones, who played very well as a backup last year. One could say he probably in a vacuum could have challenged for a starting spot. Not saying that he should have been a starter, but he played well enough where if he started the rest of that year, we probably weren't too worried because the Niners didn't go far anyway. So, what happens here? Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. They look at each other from opposite ends of the sidelines. They're sharing a hole at each other. It's getting kind of bromantic because there was like this weird tension between them. They used to work on the same staff. There's been this competition ever since they were on the Washington staff as assistant coaches, and their paths has led them to different journeys. Where Sean McVay's won a Super Bowl, and Kyle Shanahan proves to be a hack, and he knows this. Kyle knows this. It eats away at him. They're like, look at the things that I do with my offense. Look at the things Look at the creativity, the way of changed the game. And Sean McVay's outdone it better. And Kyle's like, you son of a bitch. Why is there a weird romantic tension in the air? I don't like this. I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face. And he charges at him. Charges at him. And Kyle, he just swings wildly. Sean just goes, ooh, weave, weave, ooh, gets Kyle. And they start tussling, and their tussle leads them into the goddamn tunnel. And then there's Mac Jones and Ty Simpson. They're talking about their days at Alabama. They're like, hey, man, wasn't Coach Saban a thing? He's like, well, I didn't really pay for Coach Saban. I mean, he was there, yeah. But I was with DeBoer. And he's like, DeBoer? Oh, man, he probably sucked, doesn't he? Yeah. He's like, you're a one-hit wonder too? It's like, yeah. Not as good as you, though. It's like, yeah. And they're just chumming it up. Just being really fucking chummy. And then this is when Myles Garrett, who has been on kill QB mode this entire time, spears the both of them into oblivion. Why? We don't know. We just understand that this is what's happened. Myles Garrett takes out both QBs who've been too nice to each other. And now we go back into the tunnel. Sean McVay has been dancing circles, just like, whew. And Kyle Shanahan, just crazy, swinging like a wild man. He's like, why can't I be you? Why can't I be you? I just want to. He's like, I got your papa right here. Pop. I got your daddy. Pop. And he starts getting all bloody in the face. He's like, you son of a bitch, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. And he pulls out a knife. And he goes to stab him. And then Sean McVay throws his 3,000-page playbook right at him. Just boom. And then that's when he just starts getting wobbly. And then it's like, sorry, I got to do it to you, Kyle. Ah! Knocks him out. Sean McVay wins this fight.
Nice.
All right. Oh, look at this. You read my mind. You read my mind.
The same website you told me to last time.
Yeah. These were the guys that I had in mind anyway. So
good.
Is it me or is it Gardner Minshew actually look kind of buff?
I mean, this was he did some like photo shoot for when he was on the Chiefs, so I think he probably especially did some work that week or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey,
like, I'll get cut for a couple days here, and then I'll let it go back.
Yeah, because that guy strikes me as a partier, definitely. Like he probably works hard and parties hard. He also seems like he's the type to listen to Andrew WK. Although I don't know if that's before his time or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because is it fair to call Andrew WK a wonder?
He's got like a cult following for sure, right?
Yeah, but I feel like it's built off the back of like 2 songs.
Yeah, I don't actually know. I'm sure I've heard plenty, but I don't know if I would be able to recognize that's who that is.
Party Hard. I figured you would know that one at least.
That is a very generic song title that I do not recognize as.
It's his biggest hit, but also
that's fine. That's just me not knowing things.
That's fair. All right. Well, anyway, let's get into it. We're gonna start off with the West, the Seattle Seahawks, led by Mike McDonald, and then newcomer to the Fight Club, Mike LaFleur. Oh, there you go. Talking about football nepotism here. I'm sure they saw him. They saw the last name. They're like, well, hopefully you're something like your brother. But his brother's not been very successful in the Fight Club. So, will this guy change the family lineage in the Fight Club? Who's to say? We're to say. All right, let's get things started. Patrick, as always, I would like to ask you, would you like to start things off, or would you like me to take things
I'll let you do this one first, and I'll do the first on the next one.
All right. So, in a normal situation, head coaches will meet midfield, shake hands at the end of the game. But in this case, there is none of that, right? Because in this case, the coaches meet at the midfield, right? Mike LaFleur has just lost big time to the Seattle Seahawks. Mike McDonald and his squad ran the score up. We're saying it is 50-6. Those are 2 field goals. No touchdown scored. Because why? Seattle's defense has been going crazy since Mike McDonald took over. And you know who played in this game? It wasn't Sam Darnold. Because he looked at it and was like, hey, man, I think I could take this game off. They threw in the backup. All right. They threw in the number 2, Drew Lock. Now, Drew Lock, standing at 6'6", he's right behind his coach, and he's standing there, and he's like, man, I played a pretty decent game. He went 18 of 32 for 206 yards and a touchdown, 1 fumble, no picks. It was a whatever game. All right, but there's Drew Lock feeling himself, and he's rapping to some Jeezy like he did in that one meme. Now, Michael Ford is looking up at Mike McDonald, and he's like, you son of a bitch, you ran the score up. And Mike McDonald's like, what are you going to fucking do about it? All right, we knocked out your starting QB, Brissett, and then you had to go in and throw Gardner Minshew. There's Gardner Minshew on the sideline with a mirror, combing his sick mustache, brushing his mullet, rips off his pants, and underneath his football attire, he's got some Daisy Dukes and a fucking wife beater. Why? Because he likes to party. And he's getting ready to go party right now. And he goes, hey, yo, coach, come on. I know we lost, but I got an idea. You like to party? Come on, coach, you like to party? And Mike's like, no, not right now. And Mike McDonald's like, go party with your guy and get the fuck out of my face. Fucking Nepo, baby. And Michael Ford goes crazy. He goes, ah! Immediately swings at Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald blocks that shit, smacks him right back. Drew Lock in the background is like, yeah, fuck him up. Coach, fuck him up. And then Gardner, he's just like, nope, you ain't going to do that to my coach. And then he immediately charges at Mike McDonald, ramming his head into the dude's chest. And that's when Drew Lock grabs him by the neck and lifts him up. He's like, come here, little man, and throws him. And then that's when, Michael Ford's like, what the fuck's happening right now? Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, everything hurts. And then he looks at Mike McDonald and he's like, fuck this guy. And he goes to punt his head off, but he misses Charlie Brown style, flips up in the air, lands right on the back of his neck. And he's like, shit. Oh, I can't feel anything. Oh, and then that's when Mike McDonald punches him right in the ball sack. Right. And it's just hammering there. Camera cuts to see what's happening with the QBs. Gardner Minshew takes a bump. We don't know what it is. He's like, oh, you ain't tossing me around. And immediately charges right at Drew Lock's ankles and starts biting on his ankles. Drew Lock's like, oh, fuck. And he tries to stomp him out, but he keeps missing for whatever reason. Drew just can't seem to predict exactly where Gardner Minshew is going to be with every stomp that he goes down. And then that's when you get Gardner Minshew. Then suddenly, as if he's been watching so many Kurt Angle videos, decides to pull the straps down of his tank top. And he's like, yeah! And then takes him down by the legs and puts him in an ankle lock and will not let go. He's like, if I can't start long term, neither can you. Cut right back to what the coaches are doing. Mike McDonald's still hammering that dude's balls. And then finally goes for the knockout blow. Boom. LaFleur, done for. He's a chump, okay? Just like his brother, he has no business in the Fight Club. But Michael LaFleur is looking at his QB and he's like, oh, shit, I need to help him out. Now, Mike McDonald, he's a tough son of a gun, all right? Blue collar. man preaches defense, hard nose, hidden attack. And that's what he's going for. He goes for a hard nose. Lands a clean shot, but Gardner's not moving. He's not letting go. All right. I don't know what kind of drugs Gardner Minshew took on this one, but he's just like, yeah, another one. And bah. And eventually Mike McDonald's starting to get tired. Those old bones. I mean, he's a middle-aged man, pretty good shape from what it looks like. I actually don't know how old he is, but he's just like, oh fuck, I'm going out of there. And there's Drew Lock just screaming in pain, writhing in pain. His ankle is about to fucking break. And finally, he just uses his long legs to try and kick Gardner Minshew off of him. Kicks him just enough, but Gardner Minshew gets launched back right into the coach. Coach takes an inverted headbutt to the chin from Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew immediately turns his attention to Mike McDonald and is like, looks at his coach. He's like, Coach, your balls, not your balls, Coach. I got you. And just starts hitting Mike McDonald right in the balls. Just go. And then that's when Drew Lock, on one leg, hops, launches himself for one Hail Mary of a kick, manages to get Gardner Minshew, boom, right to the temple. But that's not enough because these drugs are strong, baby. Gardner Minshew looks at Drew Lock and he's like, oh, you're going to need something more than that. And then that's when Gardner Minshew, if you've ever seen, audience at home, an image of Robin from Teen Titans landing on an enemy with both knees. This is exactly what Gardner Minshew does. He launches himself, both knees, right into Drew Lock's big-ass head, knocking him out. And that's right, Gardner Minshew soloed Mike McDonald and Drew Lock, thanks to the help of some wonder drugs that we can't discuss the name of.
Wow. It's impressive. But I could see it. Yeah, so I was thinking about this, and the only thing I can come up with is because the mics are just so generic. So the real story obviously has to be Drew Lock and Gardner Minshew. And I think it kind of goes like this. So LaFleur and McDonald are just trading punches. It's just like a robot. It looks like two robots fighting. Like there's just not much happening. Like they're just trading exact moves, exact punches, whatever. And on the sideline, Gardner Minshew cracks a Keystone or whatever the hell he's drinking. And he just starts putting them back while they watch. And Drew's just kind of like nervous, standing there like, what are we supposed to do? It's like I've never been in a fight club. I've definitely never been like a partner in a fight club. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do. And then she's just putting them back. About 5 or 6 deep, he turns to Drew Lock and finally just says, "Hey, you want to see my gun?" Drew Lock's like, "No, what the fuck? No, I don't want to." And then she pulls out, like, "Here, take a look." And Drew Lock's like, "What the fuck, dude?" And Minshew just says, "Bye." Cold cocks it. He's done. Now the problem is he's staring at these two generic guys fighting, and he has to remember which one's his coach. It's like the classic movie scene of like, who's the real one? Except it's really obvious to everybody except for Gardner Minshew. And they're freaking out. They're both saying, "It's me, Mike," which is not a lie. No one wants to lie. They're just saying, "It's me, Mike." Coach Mike. And he can't tell. He says, "Well, here's what I'm going to do." And he shoots Mike LaFleur in the head. And now we got a problem.
Oh, shit.
He figures it out. And so he has to kill Mike McDonald, too. And now somehow Gardner Minshew himself has won the fight, and he'll have to take his coach to the Lazarus pit for round 2.
It's a weekend at Bernie. It's a weekend at Bernie's.
It's possible.
It's a weekend at Bernie's in the Fight Club. He's just dragging a dead corpse.
Gardner Minshew's going rogue in his teen comedy.
All right. Congratulations, Mike LaFleur, Gardner Minshew. You have advanced to the next round.
I didn't want a scenario where I had to keep getting LaFleur and McDonald right, so I just endgamed it and got rid of both of them.
Oh man, that is a wild way of doing things, but I like it. I respect it.
Oh man!
All right, let's.
I forgot our generic background. Our fighting generic background. We'll do it for fight 2 tonight.
Well, now we move on to the Detroit Lions. That's right. Teddy Two Gloves will accompany Dan Campbell. And joining the Wonder Kid, Ben Johnson, is the no-name Tyson Badgett. Yes, fuck. Yeah. That seems like a very promising duo.
It's good when you don't know how to pronounce the name of the guy in the fight.
Oh, that's right. Now, Tyson Badgett, for those who wonder, is no small guy, right? He's 6'3", 212, a very sizable QB to have in your corner. But you look at Teddy Two Gloves. Teddy Two Gloves is no small man himself. Woo, sorry. Standing at 6'2", 212. So, about the same size. Teddy Two Gloves, a little bit more NFL experience, a little bit more experience taking hits too. That's not to say that he's particularly great at getting back up from some of these hits, but he tries. All right, and then
his worst injury was non-contact.
There you go. And then, well, we know what Dan Campbell does in the Fight Club. In the early rounds, he is a powerhouse. It's in these later rounds where Dan Campbell has struggled to get by some of his competition. Despite his elite size himself, being a former NFL tight end, and still seen like a massive human being. There's times where maybe he doesn't seem to be working out all too well. Well, guess what? I think in my scenario, you'll see where I'm going with Dan Campbell's fate as we go into these later rounds now that he has a tag team partner. So, I'll go ahead and kick things off on this one as well, Patrick. Here we are. It is the first divisional game, divisional matchup of these two teams, and then it ends in an absolute slobber knocker. We're talking 36-32. Chicago Bears managed to eke by thanks to some crazy shenanigans from Caleb Williams. And now you're thinking, well, see, why is Caleb Williams playing? Well, don't the backups in these situations usually get a little bit of love, some time to shine? No, not in this case. All right. But Caleb Williams, he's a star. He's too big for Hollywood, if you will. Goes down the tunnel first, goes into the locker room, and he tells Tyson Badgett, hey, go pick up my glove, go pick up my my playbook and my helmet. You know what? Also get my water for me. Thanks, buddy. And there he is. And as he's going to the bench, he runs in Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, like, oh man, I'm so glad I have Caleb Williams behind me. Man, I can't imagine what life would be like. Tyson was in there, and Tyson's right there. I'm like, Coach, I'm right here. I'm like, I know you are, man. I know. I wish you weren't. I really wish you weren't. Like, I can't believe people wanted you to start. And then here comes Dan Campbell just huffing and puffing. He's like, that was a hell of a game, Coach. That was a hell of a game. I respect you. Oh, but I'm going to get that title from you. Don't you worry. I'm going to get that division title back from you. And Ben Johnson's like, please don't hurt me. Please don't eat me. And almost like activating a sleeper cell. Dan Campbell's like, what did you say? What am I eating? What am I biting? Am I biting kneecaps? And then the mechanical jaw that he implanted back last season's Fight Club starts to activate. That's right. If you don't remember, he had a metal jaw last season. I'm here to remind you. And it's activated. And then here comes Teddy Two Gloves right behind, saying, hey, yo, coach, I got to see what's happening here. Puts that first glove right on Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell looked at him. He's like, Two Gloves, we got to buy kneecaps. And he's like, hey, coach, this is my side gig. I'm a high school football coach. I can't really afford to be doing that right now. He's like, well, this don't get in my way. And then he goes to bite the kneecaps of Ben Johnson. But as he did that, Tyson Bagent had accidentally slipped on one of Caleb Williams' wristbands. And at this perfect moment, here comes Tyson Bagent right in front of the kneecaps of his coach. And here comes Dan Campbell, bites the neck of Tyson Bagent. Blood gushing everywhere. Tyson Bagent is dying as we speak. All right, the blood loss is too immense. And Ben Johnson's just freaking the fuck out. He's like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. And he's running away, trying to get to the tunnel, trying to get to safety. Calling for security. But there's Dan Campbell, like the Terminator. Just boom, 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 boom. Give me them kneecaps. Give me them kneecaps. And then he looks like, Teddy. And then Teddy says, all right. Drops back to pass with his two gloves. Tosses a ball into the air. And then you see, in a very wobbly, ducky spiral, still very accurate, however, as is Teddy's game. Right in the back of Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson falls to the ground. And then he looks up. He's like, no! And then the screen cuts to black. Dan Campbell comes to, and he's like, oh, what happened there? Spits out a little bit of skin, some bone from cartilage, and then you see in the distance Ben Johnson missing a whole leg, incapacitated. Dan Campbell soloed the Chicago Bears head coach and backup quarterback.
That's funny. I liked it. You're gonna find I took a somewhat similar route. So we have a normal game. The Bears win by like 8. It's not an incredibly important game. They're both sitting at the bottom of the division. Doesn't matter. They shake hands at the middle. The coaches do. They go back to the locker room. Everyone's showering, leaving, and Teddy walks into Dan's office and he's like, "Hey, coach, aren't we supposed to be like fighting them or something today?" And Dan Campbell, smoking a cigar, is like, "I'll tell you what, you go meet me at the end of the tunnel." And so Teddy's out there waiting. He's pacing. He doesn't really want to do this, obviously, as you mentioned. He's a high school football coach. He's got other shit going on. And Dan Campbell comes walking out about halfway through that cigar now. He's like, "Well, Teddy, we're in it for the long haul. So why don't you go ahead and go back to the locker room, start packing your stuff, and I'll see you in 5. And Teddy's like, "Are you sure, coach?" And Dan just kind of chuckles and goes, Yeah, get out of here." And as Teddy starts to turn around and go back down the tunnel, he notices just an eerie mist just start pouring into the stadium. So he can no longer see anything going on the field. But the sounds, Caesar, the sounds. He'll live with them for the rest of his life. Things he never heard, things he never thought he'd hear, happening in that mist.
Oh, shit.
And right on the dot of 5 minutes, Dan Campbell comes back in, says, "Let's get out of here." And they walk away victorious. Because Ben Johnson and Tyson Bagent have no business up against anybody, but especially Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell solos the Bears in both scenarios. Congratulations, Coach. Right into that win total of
Look,
yours.
he'll need Teddy at some point, but this wasn't that fight.
Definitely not. And you got to save Teddy. You never know when his number is going to get called. That's for sure. In the NFC North, that's right. We're going to have, is that Tyrod Taylor? That is Tyrod Taylor. And that is Mike LaFleur. And then it's your boy.
Matt. It's Matt. It's Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, Matt. Listen, now that you have a new LaFleur in it, it's going to throw me off. So Matt LaFleur going against KOC Kevin O'Connell. And 9. Because I look at him. Look at that face.
That's 9.
Himself. 9. That's going to be his, if he makes it past to the second round, or if they make it past this, he's just going to be called that. I don't want to refer to him as anything else.
I think he prefers that anyways, so that works.
Yes, you've been stripped of your name, and now you are just a number. And now one of you combatants will be just a number on the win-loss column. So let's get to it. Now, Patrick, you're very intimately familiar with the NFC North. You watch the games. You root for the Vikings, and then you curse the Packers, all right, because they are big time rivals for you guys. So with that said, would you like to go ahead and lead things off this week? Really, really, just let us know what you feel deep down in your soul, how this fight would go between both parties.
Sure, yeah. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor's new to the mix. As far as being on this side of things. But look, you kind of got a generic white guy fight in the coach, both of them kind of nothing. Kevin O'Connell's got more reach, so in just a straight up fist fight, I'm probably taking him as it is, but he's got to contend with whatever's happening in the rest of the fight. You got Tyrod Taylor, kind of an unknown, a question mark. But the real ace in the hole here is that when 9 gets into a fight, he just kind of goes Tasmanian devil. Like, look at that face. He just turns up straight into like a tornado monster. He's able to pretty quickly just take Tyrod Taylor out because Tyrod Taylor is like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I don't even know any of you. I've never talked to any of you before. What am I supposed to fight about? And LaFleur is just too busy, just like, trying to figure out how to make that offense work. So the 9 Tasmanian Devil tornado is going to knock out both Tyrod Taylor and Matt LaFleur without Kevin O'Connell having to do anything.
All right. Okay. Well, I have a different version of events. And this one I'm going to pull from a movie that's near and dear to my heart, Patrick. Maybe you're familiar with it. Undercover Brother. And do you remember the villain of that movie?
It's been way too long. The white
Chris
woman?
Kattan.
Oh, okay.
Chris Kattan. That's right. From Night at the Roxbury fame and SNL, and I really don't know what else he's been in besides that. And then you had Eddie Griffin as the protagonist, right? Now, you had some other fantastic actors. You had, Denise Richards. She was the white she-devil that you were probably alluding to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was a very. So I saw that, and I was like, damn, she's hot. I had not seen Denise Richards before that, but I was like, damn, white she-devil. I get it. All right.
Yes, perfectly cast.
Yes. No. The reason I'm pulling from this movie is because this is the way that I see things going, Patrick. So you have Kevin O'Connell, Matt LaFleur. That's a mismatch already. Because you look at KOC. KOC is about 6'5", a former athlete himself, and Matt LaFleur is probably like 5'9", 140 pounds soaking wet. So these two meet up midfield. This is a pregame. guys are talking, and they get into an argument, right? They don't like KOC doesn't like Matt LaFleur running up the score. He's like, hey, my guys have been hurt. My guys were hurt in the last game, and you're running up that score. All right, you knew that I had all these guys on IR, and you are playing with a dangerous game with the health of the guys that I have out there. I already have guys off the practice squad. I got guys off the street playing in there, and you just want to run up the score for what? For what reason? Matt LaFleur is like, hey, man, you get paid? Stop it. Make the players stop it. That's what they get paid for. Huh? What you going to do about it? Finger poke right in the chest. KOC looks around, palms that man's face right into the ground, and you just hear a from Matt LaFleur. He's like, hey, man, calm down, settle down. And KOC's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Boom, boom, boom. Immediately just starts wailing onto the ground where he shoved Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is trying to roll, duck, dodge, and roll again out of the way. But KOC is on a warpath. And then what about their tag team partners? What are they doing? Boom. Tyrod Taylor on one side. The man formerly known as J.J. McCarthy, but now just number 9, right? Just staring at each other. Just right? Both of them with their clipboards. Pen in their hand. Just jotting down notes as they watch their coaches duke it out. Cut back to the coaches. KOC is mollywopping Matt LaFleur. He is just ragdolling him all over the floor, all over the field, into the benches. I mean, this is not a fair fight. Matt LaFleur got blood just dripping down his nose. And then there, KOC's got some bloody knuckles. And he goes for the knockout blow right onto Matt LaFleur, who's on the bench. He dodges. Oh, fuck. KOC shouts. He screams in pain. He punched the ever-living shit out of the metal bench on the sidelines. Matt LaFleur takes this opportunity to grab a Gatorade, one of those Gatorade jugs, and throws it at the head of KOC, but he's not a very strong man, so it only really hits him in the chest and gets him kind of wet. And he's just like, oh, what the fuck was that? And Matt LaFleur just goes like, ah! And goes for a running jump kick, misses, accidentally hits Jordan Love right in the face. Jordan Love is out cold. Jordan Love, by the way, was sitting down on the bench. That's the only reason he was able to reach that height. Okay, guys? He didn't suddenly get an incredible vertical leap. And then there's Tyrod Taylor like, well, guess I got to get warmed up. Time for me to start. And then just as he's about to go to warm up, 9 says, hold it right there, pal, buddy. I don't like the way you're looking that way. And he's like, what way? The starter's way. Tyrod Taylor's like, get the fuck out of my face. Pip slaps it. All right? Suddenly, out of nowhere, just like a pinky ring, right? That says, I'm better than you, emerges, and he's like, oh. You're like, what's going on here? Lightning strikes both of them down. Tyrod Taylor, now in the exact same outfit as Eddie Griffin was in Undercover Brother, and 9 dressed as Chris Kattan from Undercover Brother. And all of a sudden, the stereo system in the stadium just starts playing Beat It by Michael Jackson. And all of a sudden, they are transported to the tops of the stadium where they are fighting to the death. All you see, Chris Kattan, a.k.a. number 9, start throwing karate chops at Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor, blocking. Miss, weave, kicking. right in the face. Spinning back fist. And then you hear that Eddie Van Halen just solo at the crescendo of their fight. Just the Tyrod Taylor hits him right in the solar plex. Boom, boom. But 9, he's like, now he's channeling that one scene from Neil Patrick Harris from Undercover Brother, where he just rushed some dude's skull in with his bare hands. He tries to go for that same move. But Tyrod Taylor, he's a vet. He's been around way too long. All right. He's already had his lung punctured once. He's now about to get his skull collapse in on itself. Boom. Blocks it. And then he grabs both arms, locks both arms of 9. And he's like, I sure hope you know how to count to 9 after I'm done with this, with you. Headbutts him 9 times right into the nose. JJ McCarthy's like, oh, fuck. Oh, I didn't hear no bell ring. I'm like, that's not even from the movie. Tyrod Taylor tosses him aside, thinking that he's done with 9. He's making his way down to the field to go get ready for the game. He thinks, you know what? Doesn't matter if my coach can't coach anymore. Not my problem. I've been around too long. As he's going down, crashing from the ceiling is 9. Blood on his face, a crazed look. It's like, I said I'm not done. And he goes to punch a hole right in Tyrod Taylor's chest. Tyrod did not see it coming. He looks up, looks down, looks up again. He's like, well, good on you, kid. Collapses onto the floor. And we go back and we see that KOC has Matt LaFleur in the walls of Jericho, making him tap, snaps the dude's spine. The referees call it game is canceled. But you know what? The Vikings, they stand tall. Hit the horn, Patrick.
Oh, I was not prepared for that. I should have thought about it.
Well,
but I didn't think about it ahead of time, and now I don't really have one
oh, you don't have the Viking horn?
right now.
All right,
cool.
well, I'll do it.
Good enough. Sweet. Nice. So now the NFC is set. From the South, Dave Canales and Kevin Stefanski have advanced. From the East, Brian Schottenheimer and John Harbaugh have advanced. From the West, Sean McVay and Mike LaFleur have advanced. And from the North, Dan Campbell and Kevin O'Connell.
It's Head Coach Fight Club. Go on, muscle up. 32 and only one gets the dub. From the sideline to the tunnel to the field level club. There's a brawl in every corner, so you better square up. It's Head Coach Fight Club. I'm past the rock, hit the gym, not the showers, be the cock of the walk. Whether we fighting on the field or the streets of Bangkok, may the best coach win, the rest outlined in chalk. Got the QB room for the tag team match. This is full throttle, ain't no fair catch. Year 4 of this shit, and we ain't looking back. 2026, who's the king of the pack? Head Coach Fight Club. Head Coach Fight Club. Head Coach Fight Club. Head Coach Fight Club.